Okay, today we're talking to Brad Pierce. Brad, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Good to have you here. So, Brad, tell us a bit about your backstory and your work experience in construction or recruiting.
So, I joined the Ironworkers Union back in December 2012. Started as a brand new apprentice with no prior experience in the construction industry. I did do a little bit of condominium maintenance in the area around Detroit. And from there, I just took it and ran. Got involved with the union, got involved with several large contractors in the area. Finished my apprenticeship. Excuse me. I finished my apprenticeship in January of 2017. And from there, I became a foreman with one company, spent 2 years with them, bounced around a couple other jobs, became a steward for the union, and went back and forth from being a union steward to just a journeyman and a foreman in the crew.
Nice, well-rounded. So, what about your experience and how it's influenced what you do today? So, tell me a bit about how you tie that together.
Sure. So once I became a journeyman, I ran for office as a union trustee, to check the bills and do accounting type stuff. And from there, I got more involved, kept my face around the hall, got involved with the contractors, and I started teaching a pre-apprenticeship program at Washtenaw Community College with two other journeyman ironworkers. And I loved being able to tell people about the trade and get them more knowledge. And just in this past November, the opportunity to interview with the Labor Management Committee for this new outreach position came up, and I interviewed, and I was the one selected to take this opportunity to go recruit new people.
Tell me a bit about, though, the career path of an ironworker. So, what are the typical steps that it takes to become a journeyman in this trade?
Sure. So first step, you're going to come in and apply, and the application includes a math test. And from there, you pass the math test, you go to a drug test, pass the drug test, you get put on the waiting list for the apprenticeship. This year, we're putting on 5 classes, so roughly 200 apprentices. Once your number gets called, you go to your first week of school. We do block week training, so that's Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and you go once every 3 months. The rest of the time, we have you part a contractor out in the field learning with who are going to take that technical knowledge that you learn and teach you how to really apply it in the field, because as we know, it could be a little different in a shop environment than a real construction site.
Very different, yeah. We've all spent time with boots on the ground. It's quite a different environment, that's for sure. So what about some key skills? So when you're thinking about getting in as an iron worker, what are the key skills, and how can iron workers develop these skills?
So the big thing, I think, when everybody thinks of iron workers is guys walking on the beams, up in the air, building multi-story jobs. So physical prowess and balance is key. A little bit of not being afraid of heights is important.
Yeah.
But other than that, the big thing that we really need in the construction industry as a whole is timeliness, right? Like, we need the people who could show up to work every day on time. It seems to be an issue with all trades right now, with work being so good. We want people who are going to be dependable, hardworking, and can communicate. Communication's such a key. We're working with so many different other trades, and there's generally multiple contractors on a job site, so you really have to be able to work with people and have some patience.
Communication comes up in almost all of these interviews. It's a critical part of being able to keep a project on time and on budget. So yeah, it's interesting that it is, of course, important here as well. So what about opportunities for career growth? Are there specialized roles within ironworking, and how do those individuals pursue those specialized roles? Tell me a bit more about that.
So specialized roles. There's a few different facets to the ironworking industry. We do rebar installation on foundations and poured-in-place buildings, so that's one specialization people can focus in. Structurals, probably the most famous, the ones walking on the beams. But as far as career advancement goes, there's multiple different avenues for advancement. You could go through the union side, become a union officer, or you could go towards the management side, become a foreman, general foreman, superintendent, estimator, safety person. You can also go and become an instructor, and our instructors are super important to advancing the industry. We need the people who can communicate how to do the work. And there's a lot of advanced education going into that too. Our instructors go to school for years after to constantly hone their skills, learn the new advanced technologies that are constantly coming out in the construction industry.
Excellent. So for our audience watching this, it'd be great to hear your feedback in the comments below about things that you've done or you've seen around your work environment that really help the individuals pursue those specialized roles. So Brad, thinking about the training and these apprenticeship programs for aspiring ironworkers, what are some of the programs and how do they help the individuals get to where they need to get to?
So our program is a 4-year program. You go to school once every 3 months for a 50-hour training block, and there you're going to learn everything from your first week. It's going to be your 30-hour OSHA, and just what is a harness? How do you tie your boots even? Because we often encourage people to tie their boots into square knots so there's no loops to catch anything in the air. To blueprint reading, and welding is a huge component. We need more and more welders. That's one of our biggest demands from our contractors. So we do require all of our apprentices to graduate with 2 different welding certifications in stick welding and flux core arc welding. But you're going to learn how to build cranes, how to build precast buildings like parking structures, structural buildings like your skyscrapers or stadiums, rebar installation, setting glass on skyscrapers. There's, like I said, 4 years of training. You get like 5 foot worth of 5 linear feet of books by the time you're done. And it's always safety too. Every class you're going to learn safety. Every class you're going to learn some math, calculating weights, loads. It's pretty rigorous. We're registered with the Department of Labor. They regulate our apprenticeship program, so they ensure that once you graduate and get that journeyman card, you can take it anywhere in the country. It's recognized federally.
Okay, so Brad, all projects these days have a lot of pressure about time and speed and delivering on time and on budget. So what are some of the big challenges that ironworkers have around those pressures?
So the ironworkers, especially on the structural side of things, are working with large cranes, especially on these bigger mega projects and whatnot. So it's a point of pride for the ironworkers to work to get that crane off of the job site as fast as possible, in time and under budget, and as safely as possible. It's very important that we work safe, but we got to make our contractors money so that we have jobs in the future. In addition to that, on these job sites, you often see other subcontractors and other trades come in behind us, because we are the trade that generally builds the structure, and they're coming in, and you might have the electricians or the plumbers come in, and they want to start encroaching into how fast we're going sometimes. So we have to have communication with our general contractors, the ironworker subcontractors, and the other subcontractors on the job site to ensure that, yes, we can all be productive, but let's maintain safe distances from where everybody's working.
So what are some of the crucial aspects of safety? How do you measure the risks and make sure that you have a safe work environment?
From a training perspective, we do train safety constantly. Most contractors that I've worked for will have safety huddles in the morning, stretch and flexes, and then check-ins at lunch. Other than that, we also have safety people on job sites monitoring, and their job's to help ensure, like, maybe you're not so aware of where your body position is or where you're encroaching onto another trade, and they're really there to not police it, but help to ensure that, hey, remember, you want to go home, see your family at the end of the day, don't take those risks, or just be aware of where you're at. And again, it comes back to communication. If we know we're going to have some large picks in the day with the crane, we'll let the other trades know, hey, stay out of this area. It's going to be a controlled zone, danger taped off, and don't cross the barricades. And it's really come a long way. I think that communication between the trades, between the contractors, people respect it and people want to get their work done, but also want to maintain that culture of safety.
The construction industry is really moving forward. So how does an ironworker trade adapt to these changes? Are there any new technologies that ironworkers need to be aware of and things that are coming down the pipeline?
So I think with us, one of the coolest pieces of technology that's really being utilized by the ironworker now is total stations for layout and 3D imaging of buildings, especially when you're going into like auto plants using and doing as-builds, right? So going in and getting 3D imaging, you get much more accurate measurements than sitting there and pulling tape measure after tape measure. And then with the total station, that when I went through that training about 4 years ago, it blew me away that this little device can take elevation, and as you're going up on a building, it still knows where it's at through its GPS technology and whatnot. So you really utilizing GPS technology. Of course, blueprints seem to be going away. Everybody's got a tablet now on a job site. So we are training our instructors and our foremen and superintendents to utilize this technology. Actually, in Michigan here in 2 weeks, we've got the Ironworkers National Training where all the instructors from every apprenticeship program across the country are coming to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and that's where we do our upgrades and learn the newest and greatest. And they are always offering computer programs, how to utilize that equipment, which most of us construction workers didn't get into the trades because we like computers, right? So it is a new phase, but we have to adapt with the times. It helps speed things up, and you can, with Bluebeam Review, you can really get those answers fast from your engineers and whatnot.
Excellent. Well, Brad, I really appreciate having you give us some time on the show and providing your insights. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Great. So to our audience, if you like this content, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.